Hello and welcome to this episode of the Business Spotlight. Today we're joined by David Chell from Tornado Event Hire. Hi, David.
Hi.
Right, so for our viewers that are out there watching this for the first time today, the goal of the Business Spotlight is for you to learn a little bit more about David, a bit more about his business, and to get inspired, especially if you're thinking about starting a business or you're already on that entrepreneurship journey. So, David, if you could just kick things off for us by just telling the viewers who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing it for.
Yeah, hi. So, David Chell, my company name is Tornado Event Hire. Been going for now 35 plus years. So, yeah, started my actual Tornado business name in 1989. Wow. Yeah. I feel old.
So, yeah, no, that's a long time. So that's great. So you're going to hopefully have some really great shares for us today, David. So I guess the first question I'm going to ask you is why decide to get into the event hire game, and what makes you different to the others that are out there doing it?
Right. Well, basically, I started as a DJ back in the day. So back in '87, started out as a DJ and did a couple of tours in Germany. Loved the industry. The trouble is with me, I didn't sell any equipment, so I was kept on buying new equipment, keeping with the branded stuff. And then I had opportunities, so starting to hire equipment out, even to friends. They wanted to do like a DIY disco, so I used to, back then it was about £30 to hire a full DJ setup. Yeah, so I just did the event hire business, and then turned it into a disco shop. So I had a shop front, and then decided to go down the corporate route, which is purely doing event hire. But yeah, I've supplied all sorts of people, equipment, comedy clubs, bands, little bit DJs, etc. So yeah, that's how I started.
Wow, that's a phenomenal share. And so what's it been like? I mean, that's a long time that you've been doing it for. So if you could just run us through just a whistle stop tour from sort of like when you started to where you're at now.
Yeah, well, COVID was the biggest crash, but didn't deter me with regards to business. So even at that time where the corporate sector and the discos, the DJing absolutely stopped for 18 months. You've got to diversify. So basically, I thought, right, what can I do? So all these, the rule of six, people having garden parties. So I just went out, bought a load of gazebos, already had projectors and screens. So I did indoor cinemas within the gazebo. I did funerals, outside funerals, so we'd be on fields, so people can be there but on an open space. And then obviously the rule of 30 came with garden parties, so I went out and bought a load of LED furniture, already had a DIY disco set up to put music in the background. So yeah, within the business industry I've always diversified. I've had opportunities. About 15, 20 years ago, someone asked me to do a conference. Never did a conference before in my life, but I thought, I can do this. So hired a load of gear. And then from there, I've had that person that hired me is still my client to this day.
Wow.
So it's diversifying. And then I'd buy the equipment, started just a little bit at a time. Never had big loans or anything like that. I've just always invested. I've earned money, invested the money back into the business, took a salary, and yeah, just gone from that. And now I'm even doing festivals. So stage, I do indoor stage, outdoor stages, put the big canopies, sound, lighting. Got a guy at the moment who's talking to me at a soul club, doing that, inside. We've got a Whitney Houston and a George Michael tributes, and they want a bit of audio visual, so a big screen at the back, sound, lighting, bit of music in between. Just go with the flow. That's all. I've always done it. Just gone with the flow.
Yeah.
I can do anything.
Do you know what? That's phenomenal. I mean, especially with the diversification you mentioned there. I mean, COVID obviously hit an awful lot of businesses, and I know with the industry sector that you're in, it's sort of got hit very hard.
Yeah.
And you know, the fact that you've done that, and you mentioned that someone, was it 15, 20 years ago, said that you know, can you do this conference? And you'd never done one before. But
Yeah.
I think it was Richard Branson said, if ever an opportunity comes up and you haven't got a clue how to do it, just agree to it and then just
That's it.
find out.
Just worry about it later.
Exactly that. Oh no, that's brilliant. So so David, I mean, what's the future hold? I mean, what are the plans you've got going forward, sort of into 2024 and beyond?
It's quite funny because we're looking to move actually up to Norfolk. So I'm actually planning on opening a front up there with the gazebo hard, because the gazebos are still going out, not as big as what they were back in COVID. To starting up a sort of new business up there, and my son taking care of business down here. But I'm not planning on spending too much money now. It's more, I mean, there's many opportunities being given to me, and it's getting that money back, which I will never do. So it's one of those things where I'm quite happy where I am, because I've got so much equipment, and still I'm selling bits and pieces, old stock now, to buy new stock and just updating it. So I've sort of stopped basically to expand. I'm just carry on, because I suck my fingers in so many little pies that you need to sort of, you know, balance it all. So I'm sort of keep it going as I am, but trying not to work as hard as it's 7 days a week that I've always worked. So trying to
7 days.
come back a bit, come back a bit, and even Christmas and New Year's always worked it.
Yeah,
I spent 2 years in Dubai, and remember doing raffles on Christmas Day. You know, and having that, it was absolutely amazing. And other venues and golf clubs, you know, hotels and stuff over that 2-year period. That was absolutely massive for me. Highlight of my career, really.
Wow, no,
But
that's
that was good.
phenomenal. I mean, well, you know, from that perspective, I mean, you know, you mentioned about yourself. What would you say over the period of time you've been running the business, David, has been sort of your biggest lesson, you know, your biggest learning?
Don't do things by half. Don't cut corners. When I started first doing conferences, I did it on my own.
Yep.
And the trouble is, I didn't think about it that well. And basically it come down to the crunch of it. 6 o'clock, they were starting it. I wasn't finished cabling. And it was an absolute nightmare for me. And it's one of those things where I thought, yeah, I'll be able to do it, no problem. Didn't think of the actual time consuming it takes to unload the van on your own. You know, put all the equipment in place, get the stage set up, and then do all the cabling. The cabling was, you know, takes forever.
Yeah.
And yeah, just don't do things by half, plan ahead.
Yeah.
You know, get someone else to help you. You know, I'll get 3-4 people coming on the road with me now.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just, yeah, don't do things because it will bite you. You know,
that's a really good point, quite a poignant one. And I think that's probably going to be one of the greatest shares on this interview. I think I was just trying to remember the phrase someone once said to me. I think it was something along the lines of, saving a wage can cost you a fortune.
Yeah.
And I think that's what springs to mind there.
Yeah.
So I just want you to humour me now, David. We're gonna jump into my DeLorean. Yeah, we've got a DeLorean parked outside. We're gonna jump in it, and we're gonna go back in time. And I don't want to say how far back in time, but let's just go back in time, and we're gonna go and visit the 18-year-old David. Okay?
Yeah.
Now I want you to have a little think about what that one golden nugget piece of advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Basically, make a business plan. Think about what you want to do. Sit down with yourself with a notepad, write it down, and then even do a daily plan. Sales and marketing, really, really important. So basically think about how you're going to do it. You know, these days you've got social media, you've got a load of free advertising these days. Back then, you know, you had to do Yellow Pages, it was never national. You know, you got Thomas, what was it, Thomas, the Thompsons, sorry. There's nothing like the internet when I started. It's amazing now. You just get online and you can promote your business. I know one business, that's all he does, and he's great. He's an entrepreneur. He's fantastic, and it hasn't cost him anything. So it's a question of sitting down with yourself and thinking about what you want to do and how you're going to market that. And you can do it yourself, because the best person to sell your business is you. That's the only person. You know what you want, you know the business that you want, and that's what you need to sell. So you go out there and you market and sell it yourself, and just use the internet all day long. These days, it's fantastic.
Yeah, wow, that is an amazing piece of advice, and I'm pretty sure that there's going to be quite a few viewers watching today that are going to see that and think, wow, yeah. So thank you for that. That was a really great share, and if only I had the DeLorean,
Yeah,
eh?
that's actually turned up to one of my. We had the gadget show. The guy from the gadget show come and on a conference, and
Yeah.
he actually bought a DeLorean. He actually bought it. Yeah, I've
Wow.
got a picture of that in the background. It's great. Yeah, great guy.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
So, what is it that sort of drives you on a daily basis, David? What is it that puts that, passion in your belly, that fire in your belly that gets you to sort of do what you do 7 days a week?
Yeah, it's customer satisfaction, basically. The reviews and the feedback that I get from events, it keeps me going. At the end of the day, it's lovely to hear, that I've gone the extra mile. I thought about things that they don't think of, and that's with the experience and the knowledge that I've got. I'll turn up to a lot of functions, always take extra bits and pieces. Due to the fact is I know that they're going to use them, and they won't have thought of it. So it's going that extra mile, thinking outside the box, and basically getting your customer service up there right at the top.
Yeah.
And talk to them basically. Be friendly, professional, reliable. Of course, it's one massive. And punctual. I'm always there a couple of hours early. To setting
Yeah,
up stuff.
I can tell just from this short chat that we've just had that you're a very passionate guy.
Right.
So, I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure sort of getting to know you a bit more, David. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that would like to ask you a few more questions. So, I mean, have you got any sort of news that you sort of want to promote at the tail end of this podcast, or if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you as well?
You can get me even on TikTok. I've even learned how to do TikTok with my son's great at doing all that. But yeah, all the forums, Instagram, LinkedIn. You'll see Tornado event hire out there everywhere. So and that's the message that you need to get across. Get yourself out there. Even Google Maps is a great asset to get your name on Google. Little things, and talking to people as well, and even other networking. I've done a bit of networking people and just talking to other business owners and asking them. Don't be afraid to ask. Oh, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? You learn so much from opening your mouth.
Yeah.
Like I have over the years.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And so, what's the website address that people need to go to get in touch?
So it's all the 3 W's: Tornado Event Hire, either .com or .co.uk.
Fantastic. Well, David, it's been an absolute pleasure meeting you today. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for joining us. And to all our viewers today, thanks very much for watching. And as David's just said, if you want to get in touch with him, you've got the web address now. And he's also on TikTok, as he's just said. So it just leaves me to say thanks very much for watching this episode of the Business Spotlight. And we'll see you all again very soon.